After her husband threw her out for being infertile, a single dad CEO asked, "Come with me." When they got married, she imagined a life filled with laughter, quiet evenings at home, and the joyful chaos of children running around. She never imagined that her greatest desire, becoming a mother, would one day become the reason her life would fall apart. For years, Maria and her husband tried to have a child. She went to countless doctors, faced endless tests, and endured the heartache of repeated failures. Each month brought a fresh wave of hope, quickly followed by disappointment. Maria's husband, who had once been loving and supportive, began to change. At first, it was small things, a sharp comment here, a sigh there. But over time, those small cracks in their relationship grew into a canyon of tension and resentment. Maria tried to ignore it. She focused on work, on friends, and on self-care. She reminded herself that their love had been strong, that they had faced challenges together before. But the pressure in their home was growing heavier every day. Her husband stopped smiling at her. He stopped talking about their dreams and instead started talking about how life was unfair and how everything seemed to go wrong. She remembered the day it became impossible to ignore. They had a fight about something small, something trivial, and it escalated in a way Maria could not control. Her husband's voice rose, his words cutting deeper than any knife. "You can't give me what I want," he said, his face red with frustration. "You're broken." Maria felt her heart shatter. She had never felt so humiliated, so small, so unwanted. The weeks that followed were worse. The house, once their home, felt cold and empty. He stopped talking to her altogether about anything meaningful. They ate meals in silence, walked past each other without a word, and slept on opposite sides of the bed. Maria tried to talk to him, to ask why he had changed, to remind him of the love they once shared. But every attempt ended in frustration. He refused to listen. Then, one evening, everything changed. It was late, and Maria had been sitting quietly in the living room, hoping to have a conversation. She had made dinner, thinking they might eat together, but he barely looked at the food. He sat across from her, scrolling on his phone, avoiding eye contact. Maria took a deep breath and asked softly, "Can we talk?" He looked up, his expression unreadable, then finally said the words that would change her life forever. "I think it's time for you to leave," he said. "I can't live like this anymore. I need someone who can give me what I want." Maria felt as if the floor had disappeared beneath her. She stared at him, unable to speak. Her mind raced, trying to make sense of what she had just heard. "Leave," she whispered. "But this is our home, our life together. What about everything we built?" He shook his head. "I've made my decision. You're not what I need. I'm sorry." Maria felt tears streaming down her face. She couldn't believe the person she had loved so deeply, the person she had trusted with every secret and every dream, could say such things. The weight of rejection was crushing, but she knew arguing would do nothing. She packed a small suitcase, her hands shaking, her heart heavy. Every item she folded and placed inside felt like a piece of her life she was leaving behind. As she stepped out of the house, the cool night air hit her face. She stood on the sidewalk, staring at the lights of the city, feeling more alone than she ever had before. For the first time, Maria felt what it meant to have the ground pulled out from under her feet. She had been rejected not because of anything she had done wrong, but because of something she could not control. The pain was sharp, and the loneliness felt endless. That night, Maria wandered through the streets, unsure where to go. She didn't have a plan, didn't know anyone nearby who could help, but she knew she had to keep moving, had to find some way to survive. Each step felt heavy, but also strangely liberating. She realized that her life, as painful as it was now, could still have a future. She could rebuild, even if she didn't yet know how. Over the next few days, Maria stayed with a close friend who welcomed her without question. Her friend's warmth and kindness reminded her that the world still held goodness, even when her own life seemed broken. Maria spent hours reflecting on her past, crying and writing down her thoughts. She allowed herself to grieve, to feel the full depth of her pain, because she knew that only by facing it could she eventually heal. Maria also began to think about her own identity outside of her marriage. For so long, she had defined herself through her husband and the life they were supposed to have. Now, for the first time, she had to look inward and ask, who am I without him? What do I truly want? It was a terrifying question, but also one filled with potential. Slowly, she began to take small steps toward independence. She found a new apartment, started looking for freelance work to support herself, and reconnected with hobbies she had abandoned. Painting, reading, and long walks in the park became her solace. With each passing day, Maria discovered a little more strength, a little more courage, and a little more hope. Even in her darkest moments, Maria never gave up on the idea that happiness could exist beyond heartbreak. She realized that being thrown out for something she could not control did not define her worth. Her value was not tied to anyone's expectations, and she could still create a life filled with love, friendship, and fulfillment. Though the memory of her husband's cruel words haunted her, Maria slowly began to believe in the possibility of a brighter future. She knew that this journey would be long and difficult, but for the first time she felt a spark of determination. She would not let rejection destroy her. She would rise, and in her own time she would find joy again, perhaps in ways she had never imagined. And so, with her small suitcase in hand, Maria stepped forward into the night, carrying not just the pain of the past, but also the quiet hope that her life could still hold happiness. She didn't yet know what awaited her, but she knew that whatever came next, she had the strength to face it. After leaving her home and the life she had known, Maria slowly began adjusting to her new reality. At first, every day felt like a struggle. Simple tasks like paying bills or cooking for herself seemed overwhelming. Yet she reminded herself that she had survived the worst moment of her life. She had walked away from a marriage that had brought her pain, and somehow that gave her a sense of quiet strength. Maria tried to fill her days with work and small routines. She returned to freelance writing, a skill she had honed before her marriage. Writing allowed her to express her thoughts and emotions, to channel the sadness, anger, and hope into something productive. She wrote about simple things at first, memories of her childhood, favorite places in the city, and observations about the people she met. Gradually, her writing became more personal, reflecting the journey of a woman learning to stand on her own. Despite the busyness of her days, Maria couldn't escape the feeling of loneliness. Even in a crowded cafe or walking along the bustling streets, she felt invisible, as if no one could see the pain she carried. She missed companionship, someone to share her thoughts and dreams with, someone who understood the depth of her experience. But she also knew that rushing into a new relationship would be unwise. She needed time, space, and healing before trusting anyone again. One bright afternoon, Maria received an invitation to a local business networking event. At first, she hesitated. She didn't feel ready to mingle, to talk about work, or to meet new people. But her friend encouraged her, reminding her that opportunities often came when least expected. Reluctantly, Maria agreed to go, thinking it might be a chance to reconnect with her professional life and perhaps distract herself from her personal struggles. The event was held in a modern, glass-walled hall buzzing with activity. Entrepreneurs, managers, and professionals moved about, exchanging business cards and discussing ideas. Maria felt a little out of place at first. She watched the confident people around her, wondering if she still belonged in such circles after all she had been through. But she took a deep breath, reminded herself that she had worked hard to reach this point, and began introducing herself to a few attendees. That's when she met Alex. He was different from everyone else in the room. Tall, composed, and quietly confident, he exuded an air of calm authority. He had a warm smile that didn't feel forced, and when he spoke, people listened. not just out of respect, but because his words carried sincerity. Maria noticed him observing the room with a gentle attentiveness, not the competitiveness she had seen in so many others. Their first conversation started casually. They spoke about business trends, challenges of managing a team, and shared observations about the city. But soon, the conversation shifted. Alex asked about Maria's writing, and when she mentioned her journey through difficult times, he listened intently, with genuine curiosity and compassion. Unlike others who might have offered empty sympathy, Alex seemed to understand the courage it took to rebuild a life after heartbreak. Over the next few weeks, Maria and Alex met several times, each encounter leaving her with a strange mix of comfort and excitement. They met for coffee, lunch, and occasional walks in the park. Conversations that started with work slowly became more personal, touching on childhood memories, favorite books, and even dreams for the future. Alex shared stories about his life as a single father, balancing his responsibilities as a CEO with the challenges of raising a young daughter alone. Maria found herself admiring his patience, his dedication, and the tenderness with which he spoke about his child. Despite her growing interest in Alex, Maria remained cautious. Her past had left scars, and she feared opening herself up too quickly. She reminded herself that trust had to be earned, and that people could sometimes appear kind on the surface but hide intentions that hurt. Yet every time she spent time with Alex, those fears softened. There was a warmth in his presence that felt safe, and a steadiness in his words that reminded her of the strength she herself was building. One evening, after an important business meeting that Maria attended with Alex, they walked along a quiet street near the river. The city lights reflected in the water, creating a calm, magical atmosphere. Alex turned to her and said something unexpected. "Come with me." Maria froze. The words were simple, but their meaning carried weight. She looked at him, searching his eyes for clues, wondering if she had misheard. Alex smiled softly, sensing her hesitation. "I mean it," he said gently. "I want you to be part of my life, not just as a friend, but as someone who matters to me and my daughter." Maria's mind raced. She thought about her past, about the rejection she had endured, and about the uncertainty that came with starting over. She thought about Alex, about his kindness and the connection that had grown between them. For the first time in months, she felt a glimmer of hope, a hope that perhaps life could still surprise her, that joy could still find her even after such deep pain. But doubt lingered. Could she trust someone again? Could she open her heart without fear of being hurt? Maria remembered the nights of tears, the words that had cut her deeply, and the loneliness that had followed her for so long. She knew that stepping forward with Alex would require courage, courage she wasn't sure she fully possessed yet. Over the next days, Maria reflected on Alex's offer. She spent time thinking about what it truly meant. It wasn't just an invitation to spend time together. It was an invitation to step into a life where love could exist again, where she could find acceptance and connection beyond her past pain. She realized that she had two choices: to retreat into fear and remain alone, or to take a risk and embrace the possibility of happiness. Slowly, Maria began to lean toward the latter. She remembered the strength she had discovered in herself after leaving her husband. She remembered the courage it had taken to start over, to face each day despite heartbreak. And she realized that this same courage could guide her in the next chapter of her life. When she finally accepted Alex's invitation, it wasn't a decision made lightly. It was a choice rooted in hope, in trust, and in the belief that life could still hold unexpected joys. She understood that this journey wouldn't be without challenges, but she also knew that closing herself off completely would mean denying herself the chance to heal fully and to experience love in a new form. Meeting Alex and slowly opening her heart to him became a turning point for Maria. For the first time since the night she left her home, she felt the possibility of connection, of support, and of genuine affection. She realized that life could offer second chances, and that sometimes the people who enter our lives unexpectedly can change everything for the better. Maria's journey was far from over, but the spark of hope she felt with Alex reminded her that happiness was not impossible. The road ahead would require patience, courage, and vulnerability, but she was ready to take the first step. And as she looked at Alex that evening, she understood that this new chapter, though uncertain, had the potential to be more beautiful than anything she had imagined. As the weeks passed, Maria found herself drawn deeper into Alex's world, a life that was at once exciting and intimidating. Being with him was unlike anything she had experienced before. His home was filled with laughter and the busy energy of a child, a stark contrast to the silence and coldness she had left behind. His daughter, a lively little girl named Lily, had a curiosity and warmth that immediately drew Maria in, though she wasn't sure how to fit into this new role. At first, Maria felt unsure. She had never been a mother, and she worried that she wouldn't know how to connect with Lily. Every word she spoke, every small action she took, was weighed in her mind. Would she be accepted? Would she make mistakes that could hurt the little girl or push Alex away? But Lily surprised her. The child's laughter was infectious, her questions were curious, and her small hand reaching for Maria during story time was like a silent promise of acceptance. Slowly, Maria began to relax, realizing that connection did not require perfection. It only required presence and care. Alex, too, was careful. He understood the delicacy of Maria's position, and he never rushed her. He gave her space to adjust, to find her rhythm in this new relationship. He shared stories about his life, about the struggles of raising a child alone, and about the lessons he had learned along the way. Maria admired his honesty and vulnerability, qualities she had rarely encountered before. With every shared conversation, she felt more comfortable, more hopeful, and more willing to imagine a future she had once thought impossible. Despite these comforting moments, life was not without its challenges. Maria struggled with feelings of inadequacy, comparing herself to the mother she thought Lily deserved. She worried that she might fail in this role, that she might not be able to offer what Lily needed or what Alex expected. Some nights, after Lily had gone to bed, Maria sat alone, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of her insecurities. The fear of repeating past failures, of being rejected again, haunted her. Alex noticed these moments. Without judgment, he would hold her hand or speak softly, reminding her that she was not alone. "You're already giving more than you realize," he would say. "Lily sees it. I see it, and that's enough." His words, simple as they were, gave Maria courage. Slowly, she began to let go of the fear that had gripped her heart for so long. She realized that love and trust could grow, even in unexpected ways. One evening, after a busy day at work, Alex invited Maria and Lily to a small outdoor picnic in a nearby park. The sun was setting, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. Lily ran ahead, chasing butterflies, while Maria followed behind, a mixture of amusement and admiration in her heart. Alex spread a blanket on the grass and set out sandwiches, fruit, and lemonade. They ate together, laughing at Lily's playful antics and sharing stories about their day. As the evening progressed, Alex grew quiet for a moment, looking at Maria with a thoughtful expression. "I know this is all new for you," he said softly. "And I don't expect everything to be perfect, but I want you to know I want you in my life, not just as a friend, but as someone who matters to both Lily and me." Maria felt her chest tighten. The words were not demands or expectations. They were an invitation, a chance to be part of something bigger than herself. She realized that she had a choice: to step fully into this connection, with all its risks and rewards, or to hold back and risk missing out on a love that felt real and deep. She took a deep breath and nodded, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. For the first time in a long while, she felt truly seen and valued. But as Maria embraced this new chapter, life reminded her that the past often lingers. One afternoon, she received a message from her ex-husband. Her hands trembled as she read his words, a mixture of apology and a subtle attempt to re-enter her life. He claimed to have realized his mistakes, to have understood the pain he had caused. For a moment, old memories surfaced, the times they had laughed, shared dreams, and imagined a future together. The emotions were confusing, stirring feelings Maria had thought she had left behind. She confided in Alex about the message. He listened carefully, without anger or judgment, and gave her space to process her emotions. "You don't have to respond," he said gently. "This is your life now, and you get to choose what belongs in it." His support reminded Maria that she was no longer defined by past relationships, that she had the power to set boundaries and prioritize her own happiness. As the weeks turned into months, Maria began to see changes within herself. She became more confident, more assertive, and more willing to embrace the unknown. The experiences with Alex and Lily taught her patience, empathy, and the joy of giving without expecting anything in return. She discovered that love could take many forms, that family could be built with care, trust, and shared experiences rather than just biology. Yet life still tested her. There were misunderstandings, small arguments, and moments when Maria felt overwhelmed by the responsibilities and emotions she had taken on. One evening, a miscommunication about Lily's school schedule led to frustration, leaving Maria feeling inadequate and anxious. But Alex's calm approach and willingness to listen helped her navigate these challenges. Together, they learned that relationships, whether romantic or familial, required effort, communication, and mutual understanding. During this time, Maria also began to reconnect with her own passions. She started volunteering at a local community center, helping children with reading and writing. She found fulfillment in seeing the smiles on their faces, in witnessing their curiosity and growth. These experiences reminded her that she could contribute to the world in meaningful ways, that her value extended far beyond her past pain or her role in someone else's life. Alex noticed these changes too. He admired Maria's resilience, her compassion, and her ability to find joy despite the challenges she had faced. He often expressed his gratitude for having her in his life, acknowledging the positive impact she had on both him and Lily. Maria, in turn, felt a sense of belonging and purpose that she had never experienced before. The connection they shared was more than romantic. It was a partnership built on trust, understanding, and mutual respect. As the story of their lives unfolded, Maria realized that this period of adjustment and growth was a turning point. She had faced heartbreak, rejection, and self-doubt, yet she had emerged stronger, more compassionate, and more open to love. Alex's presence had not erased the past, but it had provided a safe space for healing and new beginnings. Together, they navigated the complexities of life, learning to balance love, responsibility, and personal growth. By the end of this phase in her life, Maria understood something important. Happiness was not a destination but a journey, shaped by the choices we make and the courage to embrace change. She had chosen to step forward, to trust again, and to invest in a relationship that was unconventional but deeply rewarding. And in doing so, she discovered that even after the darkest moments, life could offer light, hope, and love beyond expectation. Life with Alex and Lily had grown comfortable and joyful for Maria, but just as she began to feel truly at home, unexpected challenges tested her in ways she had never imagined. The quiet confidence she had built after leaving her past life was suddenly shaken. She had grown close to Alex and Lily, but there were moments when uncertainty, fear, and doubt crept in, reminding her that even in happiness, life could be unpredictable. One late afternoon, Maria returned from a long day of volunteering at the community center to find Alex unusually quiet. He was sitting at the kitchen table, looking at some papers with a frown she had never seen before. She set down her bag and asked gently, "Is everything okay?" Alex hesitated, then spoke slowly. "It's work. There's a problem with the company finances. I'm not sure how serious it is yet, but it's stressful." Maria sat beside him, taking his hand. She wanted to comfort him, to remind him that he wasn't alone, but she also realized that this was a side of Alex she hadn't seen much: the burden of responsibility, the stress of making decisions that affected so many people. That night, tension filled the air. Alex was distant, preoccupied with calls and emails, while Maria tried to maintain a sense of normalcy for Lily. She cooked dinner, helped with homework, and read stories before bed, all while worrying about how Alex was managing the stress. It was a sharp reminder that life was not always easy, even with love and companionship. The following days brought more challenges. The company's financial problems became public knowledge, creating uncertainty and pressure for Alex. Maria watched him work long hours, take calls late at night, and carry the weight of responsibility with quiet determination. She admired his resilience, but she also worried about the toll it was taking on him. She wanted to help, but she felt powerless, unsure how she could contribute meaningfully in such a situation. Meanwhile, Maria's own insecurities began resurfacing. She worried that she wasn't strong enough to handle the pressure, that she might fail Alex and Lily when they needed her most. She feared that her past heartbreak would somehow repeat itself, that she might once again be rejected when life became difficult. These thoughts kept her awake at night, leaving her restless and anxious. One evening, after an especially long day, Maria sat alone on the balcony, staring at the city lights. Her mind wandered back to the night she had left her husband, the heartbreak that had almost broken her completely. She realized that even though she had come so far, the scars of her past still lingered. But she also recognized that the challenges she faced now were different. They were not about rejection or blame, but about learning to support someone she loved while managing her own fears and doubts. As Maria struggled with these emotions, a conflict arose between her and Alex. It started small: a disagreement about Lily's school schedule, a miscommunication about household responsibilities, but it quickly escalated. For the first time since they had begun building their life together, Maria felt a distance between them. Alex was stressed and preoccupied, while Maria was overwhelmed with her own worries. Words were spoken in frustration, leaving both feeling hurt and misunderstood. Maria retreated to her room that night, feeling a mixture of guilt and sadness. She questioned whether she was truly capable of being part of this family. Could she handle the responsibilities and emotional complexities of loving a man with a demanding career and a child who needed constant attention? She feared that she might not be enough, that her past failures would define her future once again. But as she sat in the quiet, Maria also reflected on how far she had come. She remembered the strength it had taken to leave her husband, to start over, and to open her heart to Alex. She realized that challenges were a natural part of life and love. They didn't mean she was failing, they meant she was growing. She needed to face these moments with courage, not fear. The next morning, Maria made a decision. She would not allow frustration or doubt to push her away from the life she had chosen. She would face the conflict with honesty and compassion, communicating openly with Alex about her fears and feelings. That day, she approached him with a calm determination. "I know we've been under a lot of pressure," Maria said gently. "I've been feeling overwhelmed, and I think you have too, but I want us to work through this together. I care about you and Lily, and I don't want stress to come between us." Alex looked at her, his eyes softening. He reached for her hand and nodded. "I've been so focused on everything else that I forgot to talk to you about how I'm feeling. I don't want this distance either. Let's figure it out together." That conversation became a turning point. Maria realized that conflict didn't have to be destructive. It could be an opportunity for growth, understanding, and deeper connection. She and Alex began to communicate more openly, sharing their fears, frustrations, and hopes. They learned to navigate challenges as a team, supporting each other through stress, uncertainty, and the complexities of life. Even with these positive steps, the journey was not easy. There were moments when Maria felt exhausted, when balancing her own emotions, Lily's needs, and Alex's pressures seemed overwhelming. But she discovered that resilience was built not in ease, but in perseverance. Every challenge faced together strengthened their bond, deepened their trust, and revealed the depth of their commitment to each other. During this period, Maria also faced personal growth in unexpected ways. She began reflecting on her past relationships, the heartbreak that had once defined her. She realized that her experiences had taught her empathy, patience, and the value of perseverance. She could now approach life with a wisdom that she had lacked before, using her struggles as a foundation for stronger, healthier relationships. One weekend, Alex took Maria and Lily on a short trip to the countryside. The air was fresh, the landscape peaceful, and the distance from the city allowed them to focus on each other. They cooked together, played games, and shared quiet moments under the stars. During a walk along a small stream, Alex turned to Maria and said, "Even with everything going on, I feel lucky to have you here. I know life isn't perfect, but with you, it feels possible to handle anything." Maria felt tears prick at her eyes. She realized that life's challenges did not diminish love, they strengthened it. She understood that being part of Alex and Lily's life was not about being perfect or having all the answers. It was about showing up, caring deeply, and being willing to grow together through every hardship. By the end of this period, Maria had grown in ways she hadn't anticipated. She became more confident in her role within this new family, more patient with herself and others, and more willing to embrace life's unpredictability. She learned that true love and partnership required effort, understanding, and a willingness to face difficulties without losing sight of hope. As the chapter of rising tension and conflict came to a close, Maria felt a renewed sense of strength and clarity. She knew that challenges would continue to arise, but she also knew that she had the courage, resilience, and support to overcome them. Life was not perfect, but it was full of possibilities, and she was ready to embrace whatever came next. After months of navigating challenges, misunderstandings, and personal growth, Maria felt a quiet sense of stability she had never known before. Her life, which had once been shattered by heartbreak and rejection, was now slowly taking shape in a way she could never have imagined. She had learned that happiness was not instantaneous, but a process of patience, courage, and open-heartedness. And with Alex and Lily by her side, she began to see a future that was both hopeful and fulfilling. One sunny morning, Maria woke up to the sound of Lily's laughter echoing through the house. The little girl had discovered a new drawing activity and was proudly showing her colorful artwork. Maria smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest that was entirely new, a feeling of belonging and purpose. She realized that the bond she shared with Lily was genuine and profound, a connection built on care, trust, and shared experiences. It was more than she had ever expected to find in such a short time. Alex entered the room, smiling at the sight of Maria and Lily together. "You two make a great team," he said warmly. Maria looked at him, and for the first time she truly saw the depth of their partnership. They were no longer just two individuals learning to navigate a complicated life. They were a family, building something real and lasting together. Over the following weeks, Maria found herself embracing new routines and responsibilities with confidence. She helped Alex manage household tasks, supported Lily with her studies, and even began planning small family activities. Each day brought small victories and joyful moments that strengthened their bond. Maria discovered that love was not just about romantic gestures. It was about showing up consistently, caring deeply, and finding happiness in the shared ordinary moments of life. Yet, the path to this happiness had not been without its tests. Maria still remembered the nights of doubt, the moments of fear, and the lingering memories of her past heartbreak. But she had learned to confront these emotions with honesty and courage. Instead of letting fear dictate her actions, she chose to embrace life fully, trusting in the connection she had built with Alex and Lily. One evening, as they sat together for dinner, Alex spoke quietly, looking at Maria with a tenderness that made her heart swell. "Maria, I know life hasn't been easy for you," he began, "but I want you to know how much I appreciate you. You've brought love, patience, and warmth into my life and Lily's life. We're lucky to have you." Maria felt tears prick at her eyes. Words could not fully express the mix of emotions she felt: gratitude, relief, joy, and a profound sense of belonging. She reached out and held Alex's hand, feeling the quiet strength of the bond they had formed. "I'm grateful too," she whispered, "for both of you and for this life we're building together." As days turned into months, Maria noticed subtle changes within herself. She had grown more confident, resilient, and self-assured. Her experiences with Alex and Lily had taught her the value of patience, empathy, and unconditional support. She realized that love was not always easy, but it was worth the effort and vulnerability required to nurture it. She also discovered that family was not defined solely by blood or biology. It was created through care, shared experiences, and unwavering commitment. One weekend, Alex suggested a small celebration to mark their journey together, a picnic in the park where they had first felt a spark of connection. Maria agreed, feeling both excitement and nostalgia. They packed food, brought blankets, and invited a few close friends to join them. The day was filled with laughter, storytelling, and moments of quiet reflection. Maria watched Alex interact with Lily and their friends, noticing how natural and joyful their family life had become. During a quiet moment, Alex pulled Maria aside. "You've changed my life in ways I never imagined," he said softly. "And I want to keep building this life with you, every step of the way." Maria looked into his eyes, feeling a sense of certainty she had never known before. The fears that had once held her back, the doubts, the insecurities, the memories of rejection, seemed distant, replaced by a deep sense of trust and hope. That evening, as they returned home, Maria reflected on her journey. She thought about the pain of her past, the heartbreak that had once seemed insurmountable, and the courage it had taken to leave her old life behind. She realized that every struggle, every tear, and every moment of doubt had led her to this point, a place of love, acceptance, and possibility. She understood that life's challenges were not meant to break her, but to shape her into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Maria also recognized the importance of her own personal growth. She had learned to trust herself, to set boundaries, and to make choices that honored her happiness and well-being. She had discovered that healing was an ongoing process, one that required patience, self-reflection, and the willingness to embrace vulnerability. With Alex and Lily, she had found a safe space to continue this journey, one that allowed her to grow while also nurturing a family she cherished deeply. As the weeks continued, Maria, Alex, and Lily built traditions and memories together. They celebrated birthdays, created small rituals for holidays, and found joy in ordinary moments like cooking dinner or reading bedtime stories. Maria realized that these small, consistent acts of love were what truly defined a family. She felt a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that she was making a positive impact on the lives of those she loved most. One quiet evening, as Maria sat with Alex and Lily, she felt a sense of peace she had never experienced before. The laughter of Lily, the warmth of Alex's hand in hers, and the comfort of a home filled with love created a feeling of contentment that words could not fully capture. She realized that happiness was not about perfection. It was about connection, trust, and the courage to embrace life's uncertainties with an open heart. Maria also reflected on the journey that had brought her here. She remembered the pain of rejection, the fear of being alone, and the nights of doubt that had once seemed endless. But she understood that those experiences had shaped her resilience, deepened her empathy, and prepared her for the love and connection she now enjoyed. She no longer viewed her past as a source of shame or failure, but as a foundation for growth and strength. As the story of their lives continued, Maria knew that challenges would still arise. Life was unpredictable, and there would be moments of stress, disagreement, and uncertainty. But she also knew that with Alex and Lily by her side, she had the support, love, and courage to face whatever came next. She had learned that family, trust, and connection were not defined by circumstance alone. They were nurtured through effort, compassion, and shared experiences. In the months and years that followed, Maria's life blossomed in ways she had never imagined. She became a confident, loving partner and a caring figure in Lily's life. She continued to pursue her passions, contribute to her community, and nurture her personal growth. And through it all, she and Alex built a life filled with love, trust, and the quiet, steady joy of belonging. Maria's journey had begun with heartbreak and rejection, but it ended in hope, love, and fulfillment. She had learned that even after the darkest moments, life could offer second chances, unexpected joys, and the opportunity to build a future worth living. Her story became a testament to resilience, courage, and the transformative power of love. In the end, Maria understood that life was not about avoiding pain or disappointment. It was about embracing the journey, learning from every experience, and finding joy in the connections that truly mattered. With Alex and Lily, she had found her place, her purpose, and a love that was strong enough to weather any storm. And as they sat together one evening, watching the sun set over the city, Maria felt a quiet, profound sense of gratitude. She had discovered that sometimes the most beautiful beginnings emerge from the most painful endings.